What's up? Ryan K here from Refer, and today we're going to talk about how to overcome the challenge of applying to hundreds of jobs and hearing nothing back at all. Look, I get it. There is a ton of frustration when it comes to applying for a job, and I'm going to guess you, just like everybody else, have applied to 10, 20, 50, maybe even hundreds of jobs, sending out applications, feeling like you're throwing them into the black hole. Today I'm going to tell you about the power of connection. It is the most important power when it comes to how you apply for a job that will dramatically improve your chances of getting an interview. Like we're talking about 5 to 10 times more likely to get an interview. Now, before we jump in, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel, share it with a friend, tell everybody about it. Now, I got a question for you. Have you ever applied to dozens of jobs and heard nothing back? Heck, I know almost every day I hear somebody on LinkedIn saying, I've applied to hundreds. I've applied to thousands. And in fact, some people are out there using AI and using tools to automate the applying, thinking that this is like the lotto. The more tickets you get, the better your chances of winning. And yet, when you talk to those people, they actually haven't increased their chances of being interviewed. It might lead you to question why. Is there any point at all to applying for jobs when somebody who applies to 100 jobs doesn't hear back at all? Now, other people have actually implemented some of my suggestions, and they've said, look, I'm going to spend a bunch of time. I'm going to perfect my resume. I'm going to tailor my resume, my cover letter, so that it's dialed in perfectly to the job ad, and yet they still are waiting around for a call, still not getting an interview, and they say, well, that didn't work either. Before, I was just mindlessly blasting my resume, and that didn't work. Now I took time and effort and attention, perfected my resume, and still didn't hear back. Now, if this is you, I bet you feel completely disempowered. Like it's pointless. Like, why even try? Today, I'm going to teach you what I call the power of connection. It is by far the most important thing when it comes to applying for a job. Let me state that again. The power of connection. Look, the power of connection is all about leveraging the people you know. You've probably heard this saying. It's who you know, not what you know. Now just internalize that for a second when it comes to the job seeker search. It's who you know, the people you're connected to, not what you know, meaning the resume you've got, your education, your experience. That right there is the core concept of personal networks and connection. Look, using personal and professional networks or connection to apply for a job is the number one way to get noticed and to almost guarantee you'll get at least an interview. You see, let's unpack this for a second. There's a difference between applying blindly through a job board or applying blindly through a career site where your application looks just like everybody else's, where it's tagged with Indeed or Glassdoor or ZipRecruiter as your source, versus applying through a connection. Now, you still have to go to their career site. You still have to use the ATS. The difference is the source. When you get to how did you hear about the job, you're going to choose employee. You're going to type in the name of the person you know. It may seem small and insignificant. It may seem like it doesn't matter at all. But trust me, as somebody who built applicant tracking systems, the ones used by 10,000 employers, I know exactly what it looks like on the opposite side. And I can tell you the very first thing that a recruiter at a company looks at and sees is how you heard about the job. And staring them right in the face is the name of one of their employees. It matters. It triggers something in their head. It's not just that it triggers, oh, this person is saying that this individual is awesome and perfect fit and we should just hire him. That's not what I'm talking about. While technically that person may be vouching for you, the more important thing it's triggering is the other side of their head that says, this employee is important to us, the person whose name's there, and out of respect for that employee, we're at least going to review this person's resume and give them a call and give them a shot. Not because you're more deserving than somebody who applied from Indeed, but because they don't want to harm their relationship with that employee that you listed as the referral. And this is super crazy important. You're using that piece of whether you want to call it guilt, whether you want to call it entitlement, whether you want to call it fear of losing that employee, but quite literally, you're using the power of that employee's relationship and credibility at the organization, not to get a job, not to be guaranteed an offer, but at least to get a shot to be reviewed and have you have somebody call you. Now, clearly that's not going to solve the fact that you're totally unqualified. You still need to be qualified for the job, but I can guarantee you, if you are qualified for the job, if you meet the minimum and hopefully the maximum requirements for the job, and you have an employee's name listed as the referral source, you will increase your chances of getting an interview by 5 to 10 times. Let me just say that again. You don't need to apply to hundreds of jobs. You need to apply to 10 jobs or 20 jobs where you have listed an employee's name as the person who referred you. This is insanely powerful. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be best friends with that employee. I'm not saying they have to be vouching for you. You can make that connection as simple as networking with them, running into them at pickleball, or running into them in the store if you're applying for a job at a restaurant, or networking with them online, reaching out to them on LinkedIn, setting up a quick Zoom call, interviewing them about why they love working for the company, and then simply asking, hey, is it okay if I list your name as how I heard about the job? And that right there is what you're saying. Is it okay for me to list your name as how I heard about the job? Not as the person who's going to vouch for me, just as somebody I heard about. Now, understand from the employee's side, most of the time they get paid if you get hired. And so they have a financial incentive to let you put your name there. More importantly, there's just a law of goodness that people are good. And most likely, if you take the time to network with them, if you chatted them up, if you ask them about themselves, and especially if you interviewed them and asked them why they love working there, what they can tell you about the organization, made a human-to-human connection, whether it's in person or virtually, there is a very high probability that they will say, sure, put my name down for that job. The process is really simple. You go find the job you want. You look at the company, go find somebody that you're connected to, or a friend of a friend of a friend, or go get proximity, get around that company by walking in or hanging out where those people go to lunch, chat them up, talk to them about why they like working there, what it's like to work there, and say, hey, I noticed that the company is hiring for a fill-in-the-blank job. I'm just curious if it's okay if I list you as how I heard about the job. That's all you've got to say. Crazy, crazy powerful. One of the most important powers when it comes to applying for a job and increasing your chances of getting an interview. The power of connection. Now, hopefully you found this of value today. And just keep in mind, this is a power that you've got to embrace, that you've got to learn, that you've got to grow and get better and better at. It's not going to be perfect your first time. You're going to have to practice. Practice makes perfect at it. But don't give up on it because it is the most important of all the powers. Now remember, if you found today's video valuable, please like it. Please subscribe to our channel. Share it with a friend. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.